Welcome back to another news video. The dust has settled for Summer Game Fest, and there's way too much to report on in just one video, so I've selected a few stories, maybe even a couple of spicy ones, to share with you all today. So this week, we're talking about the discourse around team sizes correlating to the quality of games, Splitgate 2 CEO's face-palming moment, ASUS and Xbox teaming up to make the best PC gaming handheld experience, as well as a release update for Hollow Knight Silksong. Plus, we've got a bonus round where I'm going to share my top 5 most anticipated games that were announced during Summer Game Fest. All news article source for this video will be linked down in the description below. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. Let's get into it. Our first story comes from Games Radar. During Summer Game Fest, Geoff Keighley sparked some controversy when he stated that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was made by a team of under 30 people, which is inaccurate because the core Sandfall team is much larger. You can see it in the in-game credits. The list is much longer than just 30 people for Sandfall, and there's plenty of other outsourced teams and contractors that were also involved in the development of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This comment started a wider discussion amongst game developers about the David versus Goliath narrative in game development, with concerns that it misrepresents team sizes, overlooks outsourced work, and promotes a pick-me marketing sort of look when it comes to emphasizing smaller teams over quality games. Even Belatro's main developer, Local Thunk, he was among those who criticized this trend, arguing that it can pit developers against each other. I think that this comes from years of identifying games being made by a mastermind. I think of big titles like Death Stranding with Hideo Kojima, or even Demon's Souls with Hidetaka Miyazaki. Now, the idea of a small indie team has sort of the same kind of allure in today's market for games. To me, it just seems like dangerous grounds to be creating this kind of versus mentality, one that could really end up hurting not only game developers, but gamers, setting us up with disappointment. This next story comes from Game Rant. Splitgate 2 CEO EM Prolix presented their game during the event in amazing fashion, wearing a hat with the slogan, "Make FPS Great Again," dissing Call of Duty's annual releases, all while announcing their Halo with Portals game is releasing a Battle Royale mode, and having one of the most expensive microtransactions in their game. Splitgate 2 has been received mostly positive, but the game rating has plummeted to a mixed rating after the CEO's foolish presentation. He has since apologized, but he still stands by the fact that him and his team believe that the FPS genre has gone stale, and they plan to make it great again with Splitgate 2. On top of that, they have also slashed the prices on their expensive microtransactions, so they've heard the community loud and clear. Good or bad publicity, at least they got gamers' attentions. Sheesh. This next one comes from IGN. I actually made a video on this subject earlier in the week, so make sure to check that one out as I go into much more detail on the importance of this announcement. Announced was the ASUS ROG XBOX Ally, which is a gaming handheld that comes in 2 tiers, the self-titled one and the X variant. While the hardware internals are impressive for this upcoming PC gaming handheld, the most monumental part of this announcement was actually the upgrades to the user experience with the operating system. Windows 11 on handhelds has been a headache, and what they're doing is they are replacing it with an Xbox-inspired UI. Windows is still running the operating system, but you now have the Xbox UI. If you play on an Xbox, you're familiar with this sort of layout. It turns off all of the unnecessary processes that Windows tends to bloat the system with, so your gaming experience is much more smoother, streamlined, more efficient even for the processing power and the battery life of the unit. It really makes the experience feel closer to a console as opposed to using Windows on a handheld device. Anyhow, make sure to check out my other video if you want more details on this. I will link it down in the description below as well as up top here. And yeah, first finish this video and then go check out that one. So this was reported by PC Gamer, but Hollow Knight Silksong did not show up at Summer Game Fest. There was no announcement trailers. Actually, I take that back. We kind of got a sneak peek of it during the ASUS ROG XBOX Ally presentation. You could see it as a little gaming tile in the library. That's it. That's the news around Hollow Knight Silksong. Though, according to PC Gamer, the developer's head of marketing and publishing posted in their Discord server confirming a release before the 2025 holiday. I bet the team is working so hard right now to finish and wrap up this game. They didn't want to take any time outside of developing the game to make a new fancy trailer to show off at Summer Game Fest. And you know what? That's totally cool with me. Hang tight, gamers. It's coming soon. All right, that wraps up our main stories that came out of Summer Game Fest, but don't go anywhere. We've got a special kind of bonus round where I'm actually going to cover my top 5 most anticipated games that were either revealed or announced during the event. Also, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe even hit that like button. Your support means so much to me and I greatly appreciate it, so thank you. We're gonna start from the top and work our way down to my most anticipated game of the show. And I'm gonna show you some beautiful B-roll footage from each of these games. At number 5, we've got Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games have joined forces to realize the latest in tag team fighters, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Experience the Marvel Universe like never before with reimagined characters and stages, a heart-pounding soundtrack, intuitive gameplay mechanics, and jaw-dropping visuals that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Very much an evolution to one of the greatest tag team fighter games ever made, the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I can't wait to try this one out. This comes out in 2026 and will be available on PS5 and PC. At number 4, we've got Onimusha Way of the Sword by Capcom. Fight through blood-stained battlefields of intense swordplay action. Explore the historic Japanese capital of Edo-era Kyoto, twisted by malevolent clouds of malice. With every stage cloaked in mystery, danger, and intrigue, battle against monstrosities from the underworld known as Genma in a tale of dark fantasy. Follow the tale of a samurai who wields the Oni Gauntlet, a mystical artifact that grants its bearer the power to slay Genma. Through gritty, blood-soaked brawls, he searches for his reason to fight. What fate awaits at the end of his path? This is exclusive to the PS5. You can expect Onimusha Way of the Sword to release in 2026. Hoping this comes out for PC at some point. At number 3, we got Resident Evil 9 Requiem, another game by Capcom. Resident Evil Requiem is the 9th title in the mainline Resident Evil series. Prepare to escape death in a heart-stopping experience that will chill you to your core. A new era of survival horror begins in 2026. Technological advancements combined with the development team's depth of experience combine in a story with rich characters and gameplay that's more immersive than ever before. Resident Evil Requiem will be available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Steam on February 27th, 2026. At number 2, we've got The Witcher 4, which is a single-player open-world RPG from CD Projekt Red. At the start of a new saga, players take on the role of Ciri, a professional monster slayer, and to embark on a journey through a brutal, dark fantasy world. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, it aims to be the most immersive and ambitious open-world Witcher game to date. There's no release date that has been officially announced at the time of recording this video. I'm going to guess, though, this is probably slated sometime in 2026. We'll have to wait just a bit longer. Okay, coming in at number 1. I kind of cheated on this one. Mundfish, the creators of Atomic Heart, are making some big moves. They dropped trailers for 3 games, an Atomic Heart sequel, a brand new MMO RPG shooter called The Cube, based in the Atomic Heart universe. And while these 2 look amazing, the 3rd game is the one that I'm most excited for. And that game is called Ill, a realistic first-person action horror game that takes you into a dark fort overtaken by a mysterious entity. Unpredictable monsters, a visceral dismemberment system, and realistic physics create an atmosphere of relentless terror. No release date was announced for Ill, but you can expect the game to launch on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. I'll be keeping tabs on this one. And that's a wrap for this week's news. I'm not gonna lie, it was actually really difficult to narrow everything down that happened during Summer Game Fest. There were so many games that were announced and shown off. Lots of great games, especially on the indie side of the game industry. This was just a small collection of news and games that came out of the event. So if you're interested in checking out a full listing of games that were announced, you can check out the links down in the description below. You got any thoughts on these stories? What are your top 5 most anticipated games that came out of the event? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to see your top 5 lists. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and share it with friends, and also consider subscribing for more great gaming content. Also, if you're looking for more, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.